Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate your interest in the case. Just want to give you a brief update on what we know in regard to the unfortunate deaths that we had an unfortunate opportunity to have to investigate on Christmas afternoon. Certainly at a time when most folks are home celebrating the holidays with family and friends. We experienced a very tragic situation here in Hamilton County where a family lost 3 family members in one afternoon. The circumstances behind the deaths obviously have been under investigation for a couple of days now. In speaking with family and friends, neighbors, and things of that nature, trying to determine exactly what happened at the home of the Moon family. We've learned that Todd Moon, the suspect in this case, had called his sister to come out to the residence because of a situation that was going on there, disturbance that was going on there, and asked her to come and get his kids from the home. 2 8-year-old children, twins, at the home the afternoon of the shooting. Sister arrived, found Todd in a fit of rage, very upset, very angry about which she's not quite sure. She tried to calm Todd down, obviously, and was unsuccessful in doing so. Mother stepped out of a room, and Todd, in a fit of rage, pulled out a handgun and began firing at his mother. He then went to a back room and began firing at his father. She gathered up the children, immediately left the residence, obviously concerned for her welfare and the welfare of the children, went to a local fire station and called the police. As she was leaving the home, she heard a last gunshot, which she presumed may have been Todd taking his own life. When our officers arrived on the scene, they did find and confirm that there were 3 deceased persons in the home. That is Donald Moon, 84, his wife Joyce, 81, and Todd Moon, 48 years old, the son who also lived there at the home. The residence was located in the 11,200 block of East 191st Street. The coroner's office did help us with our investigation, and I'll turn the findings over to John Chalfin, our county coroner.
Good afternoon. The deaths were reported to the Hamilton County Sheriff, who then got in contact with us. The initial contact was with Noblesville Police Department and then turned over to the County Sheriff and the Coroner's Office. And that was to be subject to final autopsies. At that point, when we get the final autopsy reports, I'll certify the deaths. The autopsies were performed this morning by Dr. Sozio. He's a forensic pathologist that we use. The probable cause of death on Joyce Moon, the mother, was multiple gunshot wounds. On Donald Moon Sr., the father, once again multiple gunshot wounds. And on Todd Moon, there was a single gunshot to the head. So the manner of death in Joyce and Donald's case is homicide, and in Todd's case it is a suicide. The mechanism, the exact mechanism of death, will be determined in the final autopsy report. At my direction, all of the deceased have been held by me and awaiting the final autopsy. We will be releasing, based on preliminary results, the bodies to the appropriate funeral services.
So as you've heard, our investigation has determined that this was a double homicide and followed up by a suicide. At this point, we'll take any questions that you might have regarding the incident.
Start over here. The sister doesn't know what her brother was upset about?
She doesn't.
Any indication at all what he was upset about or what he was saying?
She just said that he was upset, asked her to come and get the kids. Didn't go into any indication of what the argument was about. There was an allegation that Todd had struck his mother, and so she was inquiring about that and trying to figure out exactly what the source of the tension was, but she never really came to any determination exactly what that was.
When you say the mother stepped out of the room, what do you mean? Was they in a living room, kitchen, or can you explain a little bit of that?
When she arrived at the home, Todd was in the kitchen area, and it's my understanding that the mother was in one of the back bedrooms.
And the mom stepped out of the back?
She came out of the room, and as Todd and his sister were having a discussion about what was going on, and when she came out of the room, Todd immediately went into a rage and pulled out his gun and started firing at her.
Did the sister see that?
She did.
A gun that he had on him?
Yes.
What did the children witness?
It's our understanding that the children were also in a room, a back bedroom, so I don't believe that they actually saw the gunshots or saw the gun being fired, but obviously heard several of the shots.
And then from there, the sister took the kids and left?
She took the kids and immediately left the residence and drove to the Noblesville Fire Station located at 191st and 37. And on her drive there, she called her husband. She attempted to call 911, but was having a difficult time because of her stress and her nerves. When she got to the fire station, she summoned help, and that's when we received the call to respond to the residence.
And so then she did not see her father shot?
She did not see her father shot, no.
So he left the kitchen and Todd left the kitchen and went to another room where the father was?
Yes, the father was in a back room of the home. After he had shot his mother, he went into the back room. She heard several gunshots, and at that time she thought, let's get the kids out of here. She grabbed the kids up and immediately left, and as she was leaving, she said that she heard another gunshot, which she thought perhaps might have been him taking his own life.
There was a pause between the gunshots when she left and then the one she heard.
There was a pause between the gunshots she heard in the back room, and as she was leaving, she heard another single gunshot.
These are the sister's kids, not Mr.
No, these are Todd's kids. These are his children. He had been through a divorce and had custody of the children and was residing at his parents' home with the two children.
How old are they?
A boy and a girl, 8-year-old twins.
Do you know when the divorce was?
I don't know. It's been a number of years since he's been back. Apparently, his ex-wife lives in Baltimore or somewhere out on the East Coast.
So since the suspect is dead at this point, what happens to the investigation? Does this close the case, or is there more work to do?
It's still ongoing. We're still reaching out to extended family and friends of Todd's. We've reached out to the Department of Child Services because the children are now without their biological father. We're in touch with the mother in Baltimore, trying to see what we can do as far as making arrangements for the children. We've also gotten them into counseling, obviously, trying to help them through this very, very traumatic situation.
Who are they with now?
Currently, they are with the sister, but again, Department of Child Services is involved and is also working with the mother and the family to try to find the proper place for the children at this time.
Has there been a history of disturbances reported at that location?
There has been no history of any violence or disturbances at the residence. We have no information to indicate that Todd had any criminal history or any history of mental illness. So this really comes as a surprise to many people, obviously his family and to us as well. So nothing really to indicate that there were any issues going on here. Certainly that's something that we're really trying to nail down and identify just exactly what sent him over the edge and caused him to do something so horrific on Christmas holiday.
Do we know what he did for a living as you're learning more about him or taking in what his
We're still, he had an accounting background, so we're still trying to determine exactly what it is that he did for a living and things of that nature. So that'll be part of the ongoing investigation, reaching out further to extended family and friends.
Did he live with his parents?
He did, yes. He lived with his folks at the home on 191st Street.
You know for how long?
We believe at least 5 years or longer. He had been out in Baltimore for a period of time and then moved back home. So we do know that he's been living at the home with his parents for at least over 5 years.
With children?
With the children as well, yes.
What do you know about the gun? Anything to be registered to his name?
We know that he had a gun permit. We believe that the guns belonged to him, but that's really all we know. They were one handgun was used in the incident. He did have another handgun that he was in possession of,
What kind of gun it was that he used?
a 9mm.
Did you learn anything from the victims' bodies as far as, was this planned outrage, anything like that, that you could speak up to that point?
Nothing of that nature, no. Only what the autopsy has revealed, and that was multiple gunshot wounds. And we're analyzing them, the tracks of the bullets, so on and so forth.
Can you say at the top, the body was found near his father's, when he shot his father and then killed himself right in that situation, or went somewhere else?
He was actually found in the front foyer area, or near the front foyer area, actually closer to his mother than to the father.
So did he kill his mother in the kitchen?
She was it's a small 3-bedroom ranch, so I believe she was somewhere in the foyer area or near the front door, and he was just off to the side of the front door, and the father was found in the back bedroom.
Mr. Chalfa, could you talk a little bit about the extraordinary circumstances of having to deal with 3 autopsies over the last few hours and today, especially? Not a lot of homicides or suicides in Hamilton County. How did it affect you and your staff?
Well, we, on our staff, we have some very experienced people. We have the former coroner, Thurl Cecil. He's our chief deputy. And for an autopsy of this nature, we only use a forensic pathologist. There are very few of those in the state, but the one we use is very reputable and is certified as a forensic pathologist.
And what's his name again?
Dr. T.J. Sozio,
Can you spell that last name?
S-O-Z-I-O.
And where is he associated? Is he associated with a hospital?
No, he has his own business.
You know what happened to the front window?
It was broken in an attempt by the first officers on the scene to gain entry to the residence. It was not a part of the disturbance or the altercation that we're aware of. Well, obviously the holidays are a time for family and friends to gather and good times, but clearly over the holidays some folks find themselves in great stress, and so we would certainly encourage folks that are experiencing that to reach out for help. There are plenty of services available. Again, if you're feeling bad, you're having issues, need help, and have concerns, don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll connect you with the resources that you need to get through those difficult times. Are there any further questions? Well, thank you all very much. I hate for you to have to come up on this horrible story, but I know a lot of people want to know what happened, and we're certainly here to try to help shed some light on it as best we can, but I'm afraid we may never know what truly set this gentleman off and caused him to do such a horrific thing. But we appreciate all the cooperation from our local law enforcement agencies and certainly with the coroner's office in this investigation. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. That'll do it. I will send out a hard copy of the information. This is a follow-up, and hopefully that kind of wraps everything